Hello, Browns fans. Welcome to the Dawgland podcast. I am your host, Anthony Jokey. Got Jackson McCurry alongside me today. As always, Jack, how we doing, man?
Doing well, man. Like I said before we started recording, we got rookies and quarterbacks reporting Thursday. The rest of the vets report early next week, and then a week from tomorrow, first training camp practice, and the 2026 season kicks off, man.
It's crazy that we're already here. Like, this summer has gone, seems like it's gone by so quickly, and it's crazy that Browns football is just right around the corner. And I saw a post this past Saturday that we're 7 weeks away from Ohio State starting. So it's about to be that time, and it's our favorite time of the year, obviously, because we've been doing this podcast heading into our 10th year now, and look, it's crazy to me that we've been going this long, but you and I love to do this, love to talk Browns, other things as well. So it's I'm glad football's right around the corner.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like it's like I said, it's coming up quick. The LeBron decision/indecision has kind of made things speed by pretty quickly the last 3 weeks. Obviously, the Guardians still playing good baseball as we roll to August, as we're hitting the stretch run here. But nothing beats Browns football. Nothing beats Ohio State football, Ohio high school football. Like football's coming back, and it's a great time of the year. Like I'm looking forward to all three levels. I had mentioned to you, like I think I'm gonna go try to watch some Hoban football this year because we got Josh Cribbs' son, potentially the quarterback there, Mario Manningham Jr. And Hoban obviously is already a powerhouse. Like football's back, and can't wait to get things rolling.
Yeah, I know. I'm very excited, and thankfully, I think this summer has kind of gone by quickly because once basketball season ends, or once it ended with the Cavs, we had the World Cup to distract us for the last like 40 days or so, and I think that's really helped jumpstart us into getting ready for football season. Even though that's a different kind of football, but just fun that provided for the last couple of months, and allowing us to transition into another, sport part of the summer here. Um, Jake, great to see you as always. Barking Browns podcast. See you're there with us too. I would imagine that's Jacob. So great to see you. Glad you're here as well. Um, you know, I can't believe you brought that up. Like,
I had
I,
to.
I am wearing an Ohio State shirt, but your brother is one of these days. It'll be fun to meet him, and
Oh,
maybe give him a hard time. But
he when we went to go get dinner tonight, he was like, "I'm just gonna throw some obscure Buckeye defensive players' names," and he said Andy Katzenmoyer, and I was like, "Well, do somebody that's a little more modern." And I mentioned Vernon Golston, and then he said Sonny Styles, who the Browns did technically pass on, but I think we're content on who they
I
ended up drafting.
I got one for you. Donnie Nicky from the '02 title team.
Okay, yeah, him
There's an obscure one for you.
and then here comes MC, and he's gonna make fun of my big head, which I mean, MC.
Look,
Some people don't complain about the big head. That's all I'm gonna say.
hey, with the big head, there's a lot of knowledge in there. So,
And then
that's your argument for it.
well, if Will Howard could play defense, maybe we could trade for him.
Right, right. Yeah, this podcast or this episode's all defense. Last week, we gave our offensive preview. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, please go to our YouTube channel at the Dawgland over on YouTube. Check that one out. We greatly appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Like that video and subscribe to the channel while you're there. This episode, though, we are going to talk about the defense. And with that, the Browns have a brand new defensive coordinator in Mike Rutenberg. Jim Schwartz moved on after he was passed up for the head coaching position for the Browns. So the Browns had to go and find a new defensive coordinator. Rutenberg was with the Atlanta Falcons as their pass game coordinator. Has not called defensive plays yet, but he comes to a defense that's kind of in a transition period from older to young talent. We traded Myles Garrett this offseason. You've seen some influx of young talent with Carson Swedinger. They brought in Jared Verse in the trade. So this Browns defense is in a transition period from going older to younger. But Jack, your thoughts on Rutenberg, what he will be able to bring to this Browns defense with some of this younger talent that is currently there?
Yeah, I mean, you get Rutenberg, who's a first-time defensive coordinator, and he obviously has a very distinct football background, starting basically as an intern under Joe Gibbs, working his way up the ladders. He's worked under some great defensive coordinators, Robert Saleh, Raheem Morris last year in Atlanta. So he's got a lot of football education under his belt in the last 20 years, and now he's finally getting his opportunity as a defensive coordinator. You come to a team, I'm sure when he got hired, he was looking forward to the possibility of working with a Myles Garrett, but obviously things happened, which we'll get to. But you're anxious to see what he's going to bring to the table, because obviously he's replacing Jim Schwartz, and it's hard to replace a football coach like a Jim Schwartz given his background and the success he had in Cleveland. But you hear Rutenberg talk. It's a guy that loves football, obviously. It's a guy, like I said, that's learned under multiple defensive coordinators and coaches and what have you. So I'm anxious to see what he's going to bring to the table. It seems like what we've run here the last couple of years under Jim Schwartz, a lot of that will stay the same. But I'm anxious to see what Rutenberg adds to the mix, to see what he can do to make this defense stay steady and still one of the best in the league.
Yeah, it seems like, and we'll talk about the edge here in a second, but being able to get Verse back, you would think that the pass rush drop off won't be significant. Obviously, not having Myles Garrett is a tough task, but with what Verse has been able to do over his first couple years in the NFL, you would hope that the pass rush would still kind of same, and you'll be able to base your defense off of all of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the way the defense has played the last couple of years. You feel good that a lot of the parts and pieces are still here in place. Obviously, we have some new faces on that side of the ball, and a brand new defensive coordinator, but you hope that the scheme stays the same. They keep continuing to pressure the quarterback, get after the quarterback, because that's been the MO the last couple of years, and it's been successful. Obviously there's new faces, but you just hope that style of play on the defensive side of the ball doesn't change, and we just continue to have success there.
Let's talk about this edge room, because obviously the biggest difference, and as we've already mentioned, Myles Garrett is no longer here. They traded him to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Verse. a first round pick, a second round pick, a third round pick. And if I remember correctly, that third round pick could become a first rounder if he's traded into the AFC North. Don't see that happening, but that condition is still attached to it. You bring in Jared Verse to go alongside the likes of Alex Wright, Julian Okora, Isaiah McGuire. Brought in a couple undrafted guys, Tyreek Sapp and Spencer Fano's brother, who I forgot about last week. But his brother, Logan Fano, is here as well as undrafted free agents. So you look at this rotation of guys, I would imagine they'll keep five on the roster. I don't know if they'll go down to four, but your thoughts on this kind of rebuilt edge room and where it can go this season?
I mean, obviously, no one's going to replace Myles Garrett. I mean, you look at what he's done. He's one of the greatest Cleveland Browns of all time. Obviously, we knew he wanted to move on. The Browns finally agreed to moving on with him once they got the trade package they wanted, and that included getting Jared Verse, who's one of the up and coming edge rushers. Some could say he's already a top 10. Some will say he's right on the fringe. But adding him in that trade, I think, sealed the deal for the Browns because they weren't going to be left empty handed. So you add him to the mix with Alex Wright and Isaiah McGuire, guys that have been in the system the last couple of years, guys that have shown signs of being productive pass rushers in this league. It's obviously going to take a dip, but I feel like, and I only mention these guys in the scrolling ticker on the bottom just because I see those as the only locks right now. I feel like the production could still be there. Alex Wright broke out last year, 5.5 sacks, ton of pressures. Isaiah McGuire, when he got to play, was productive. I really would love to see him break out even a little more this year, and I feel like he's going to get every opportunity to do so. But I'm really excited to see what Jared Verse brings to the table. He's looked really good in the first couple years in Los Angeles. Now he comes to a new scheme where I think his pass rushing ability can be showcased even some more. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then, you look at the fourth, maybe the fifth guys, they might not even be on the roster yet. I know they guaranteed a lot of money to Logan Fano. So you might want to put him down as a lock just because if you follow the money, signs would show he makes it, but I feel like he still has to earn his job. But they may even go out and make another trade to bring in a pass rusher. They may sign one of these veterans out on the free agent market. But the edge room, it's obviously going to take a hit, and no one's going to be able to replace Myles, but I still think they have the tools and the players in that room to be productive.
They did try to bring in AJ Epinesa, but there was the physical thing. So we'll see if they decide to try to bring somebody else in. I think the issue with this edge room is you get a injury to one of these guys and you are very thin. It's already, we have those three guys there at the bottom, but you get an injury to one of these three guys and it's going to be tough sledding in terms of a pass rush going for this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, depth, and we'll talk about it throughout this episode when talking about the defense. Depth is definitely going to be something if an injury does happen because, like you said, if we lose one of these edge rushers, and we obviously don't want that to happen, it's going to take a big hit to the room. And I see Jake mentioned in the tweet, Joey Bosa. There's been rumors he's going to San Francisco. There's rumors he's thinking retirement, which, I mean, he's played 10 years in the league, done all he can pretty much do except win a Super Bowl. If he's going anywhere, he's probably going to a contender. I just can't see him coming to Cleveland. It would be nice, give some veteran presence in that room opposite Jared Verse. But like you said, if an injury happens, this edge room could get ugly. And like Logan Fano had some talent in Utah. Tyreek Sapp showed some ability in Florida. But those guys also were UDFAs for a reason. Maybe they break out in camp and show signs that they don't need to make moves in the room. But I wouldn't be mad if they add at least one more edge rusher to that room during training camp in the preseason.
Yeah, and cut down day is definitely something to pay attention to. I feel that for this edge room and pretty much anywhere on defense in terms of depth, and we'll, like you said, we'll talk about it more. But the last couple guys in each position group, you can definitely see them being turned over for somebody that they're able to find on the waiver wire down the road. So, and Jake, yes, we'll get to the injury and the secondary thing
Yeah.
later on because that's also a pretty scary thought as well. One position I feel pretty good in terms of depth is the defensive tackle position. Right now, you have Malik Collins, Mason Graham, Mike Hall Jr., Kalia Davis, Aiden Huntington, Sam Kamara. Uh, I feel like that's a pretty strong group. They lose Shelby Harris, that veteran presence, and it's sad to see Shelby go because he was such a fan favorite and love watching him play. But I guess the biggest question with this defensive tackle room, Jack, is can Mason Graham get to the next level this season, and somebody like Mike Hall also live up to potentially being a starter in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, you would certainly hope so. I mean, I know there's people saying Mason Graham was a waste of a pick like 1 year in, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can justify it by looking at the picks around him, and that defensive tackle's not like a primary position of strength that you want to draft in the top 10 of an NFL draft, but to call him a bust already, I think is a joke. I think he showed plenty of ability that he can be a disruptive force in the middle of the field or the middle of the defensive line. Like he's never probably going to be an Aaron Donald or a Warren Sapp type D tackle, but I think he's a D tackle that can play 8 to 10 years in the NFL. Like he's a solid run stopper. I think he can pressure a quarterback and obviously he showed that at times last year. But you would love to see him take a step forward. Obviously, you want to see him finish the job on some sacks. Obviously he didn't have a lot last year, but continue to pressure the quarterback, continue to stop the run, and be one of those forces in the middle of the defense. And you hope he makes strides in year two. And for Michael Hall, this is a big year for him. This is year three. The first 2 years have been injury plagued. He really hasn't got a lot of time on the field. We know what he was at Ohio State. I think some of us were excited when the Browns took him in the second round a few years ago. And this is a big year for him because obviously that D tackle room, like you said, is crowded. They added Kalia Davis in free agency from San Francisco. Aiden Huntington showed flashes last year. And Sam Kamara has been around for a few years. And he's that guy that, Anthony, you talked about keeping 5 edges. He's in spot for that because he can play both edge and D tackle. So it's a big year for Mike Hall. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Hopefully he can make some noise in the preseason to justify his roster spot.
Would you, I know a lot of people pay attention to statistics. Is there like a minimum number of sacks that you would want Mason Graham at every single year to consider that first round selection in the top 10 a success? Or is it just as much pressure as you can get on a quarterback?
I mean, it all comes down to pressure. Like, yes, the numbers are going to be there to back up for him when it comes to contract time and everything. But I mean, if he could get at least 5 sacks a season, I feel like that would be warranted, especially if you're getting 30, 40 plus pressures from the inside and you're helping stop the run. Like, that'll justify the pick. I mean, obviously, a lot of us wanted Travis Hunter. There's people now saying we should have taken Tet McMillan from Carolina, but I know a lot of people were against that at the time, especially once we traded back with Jacksonville. And there was one of the offensive tackles there, I think Fashanu from the Jets. Those are the names that keep getting mentioned as who we should have taken over Mason Graham. But, Mason Graham, like I said, he may never be an Aaron Donald or Warren Sapp type D tackle, but I think he's a solid guy. And if he can get you 5 sacks a year, I think that's good production for him because he really wasn't like the eye-popping D tackle that we've seen over the years, but I think he's going to be a solid one for years to come.
The pressures and the tackle for losses in the run game will probably be the two biggest things to pay attention for him because if he's providing interior pressure, you would hope that the edge guys, Jared Verse, will be able to clean up those sacks when necessary. So
Yeah.
let's take a look at the linebacking room. We added Quincy Williams in free agency. We added Justin Jefferson, not the receiver, the linebacker in the draft. We lost Jerome Baker and Mohamed Diabate as well. How do you feel about this linebacker room as a whole? Carson Schlesinger going into his second season, the reigning defensive rookie of the year on defense. How do you feel about this room here?
I feel good about it, mainly because Jason Tarver is still here. A lot of the staff stayed over, even though there was a D coordinator change, and I felt like that was one of the best things for the Browns defense was that the position coaches all pretty much stayed put, and Jason Tarver was the big one because as long as he's been here, Anthony, the Browns have turned out solid production out of their linebackers going back to 2020. Whether it was Mac Wilson at the tail end of his run before he moved on to Arizona, to Sione Takitaki, to JOK, to Schlesinger now, to like you put a linebacker in there and they did their job, what they were assigned to do, and they've been productive. And that's the one good thing about Jason Tarver. He's been a solid position coach for the Browns. I was so glad they were allowed to keep him. But when you're talking about a personnel standpoint, like I feel good about this linebacker room. It's one of the rooms on the overall roster that I feel good about. Obviously, Schlesinger had a fantastic rookie season, winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. You bring in Quincy Williams, who is familiar with Mike Rutenberg, and that you got to feel good about that as a guy that Rutenberg probably said, this is a guy you need to go out and get in free agency because he's a leader and he's a dog on defense. Reed has been a solid special teamer guy, which I'd imagine he stays in that role, maybe gets more time in the linebacker position. And then Jefferson, lots to like about him on tape coming out of Alabama. Nathaniel Watson hasn't been what we expected him to be coming out of Mississippi State, but hopefully this year he can stay healthy and maybe make some noise in that room as well.
Yeah, I think with Quincy Williams, from what I've seen, just playing with his hair on fire all around that defense, a very fiery guy. I think Browns fans will, including us, will really love to see him. And, as you talk about, what you expect from rookies, second-year players, everybody talks about that sophomore slump. Is that something that you foresee in Carson Schlesinger's future? I have seen a handful of articles written about that, over the last couple of weeks. Do you foresee a sophomore slump, or do you foresee him still being able to put it together and play at the pace that he was able to last year and maybe even a little bit better?
I mean, you hope he doesn't hit a slump because there's a lot with him now. Like the Browns look at him as one of the cornerstones of the franchise. You've seen him like he's going to be on billboards in Cleveland. Like he was one of the two players at the groundbreaking for the new stadium. Like the Browns look at him as one of the cornerstones now, and probably the cornerstone on defense between him and Denzel Ward for the time being, and hopefully Jared Verse. But like those guys, like you really hope he doesn't take a dip. I think this scheme is fit for him to, be that all-around linebacker that JOK was a few years ago, and he slid into that role perfectly last year in his rookie season. And I think he's going to continue to be that. He may take a slight dip in production. I mean, he had, what was it, over 140, maybe close to 150 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2 picks. Like, yes, he's going to be all over the field. He can cover, he can rush. We know he can for sure tackle. He's got all the tools to be one of the great linebackers in today's NFL. And like Jake said, he may make it known he's the best linebacker in football this year. He's got all the tools. If he continues to be productive and he can lead this Browns defense moving forward, there's no doubt in my mind Schlesinger can do it. Now, you just hope he doesn't hit that, sophomore slump and everybody's going to say, what happened to him?
Yeah, you hope that it's something that he can continue to build upon. I definitely think you're right in him being one of the cornerstones of this team, even heading into his second season. We've had history of some really good linebackers here. You bring up like Joe Schobert, DeQuell Jackson over the years. So there's been a lot of decent guys that they've had on at linebacker. So hopefully Schlesinger can continue to be that guy for the Browns on defense. Looking at the cornerback room, and this is maybe the one where
this is where it starts getting
pretty questionable. Yeah. They brought in Miles Bryant. Today, they actually brought in Damari Mathis. formerly of the Denver Broncos. He was out all last season with a torn ACL and didn't get another contract there, so they were able to bring him in. They released Dom Jones with the injury designation. We don't know at the time what it is. We also lost Martin Emerson, who was also coming back from an Achilles injury that he suffered in training camp of last year. So this cornerback room, Jack, is Denzel Ward, Jason Campbell,
Tyson
or
Campbell.
Tyson Campbell.
You're
Had
good.
a horrible flashback there for a second. D'Angelo Ross, Damari Mathis, who I just mentioned, Nate Evans, Michael Coates Jr. Those are a couple undrafted free agent guys. Not a whole lot of depth after those first few, and few I'm including Damari Mathis, but he's coming back from injury. So, what do you feel about this defensive cornerback room?
It's the one of the rooms I'm really concerned with. Everybody's trying to get all hyped about the Browns season, and I'm like, this cornerback room is scary to me because we can't even not discuss the Denzel Ward trade rumors that have been out there. And if they trade him, this cornerback room is going to be one of the worst in the league. It's going to be scary. Like, it's on paper, it's scary outside of Ward and Campbell right now. And Jake, that's a big question going into camp. Who is going to be our nickel corner? Because right now it's Miles Harden, and he really hasn't shown anything yet. You mentioned Miles Bryant, Anthony, as a guy we added in the offseason. The fact that was basically our only addition up until today, very scary. Like, they didn't draft a corner. They brought back D'Angelo Ross and Trey Avery, guys who showed flashes at the end of the season. Damari Mathis, I remember him coming out of Pittsburgh, but he hasn't shown very much. But yeah, like, if an injury happens in this room, if a trade happens in this room, this cornerback room is, I don't even have the word to describe it because it's just going to be bad.
I know we'll talk about the safeties here in a second, but in terms of nickel corner, are we going to put Ronnie Hickman or one of these other guys in that position? Try and get, try to cross utilize them as much as possible.
Or they put McNeil Warren because he has history of doing so coming out of Toledo. Like, he can play nickel corner. I'm sure they want to get him out on the field as much as possible, being how talented of a rookie he can be. But yeah, like, I don't know what the answer is. I'm really shocked they did not make another move at corner of some sort in the offseason, whether it was trying to trade for somebody, especially with Andrew Berry's history. I mean, he played corner. They invested heavily in corner, drafting one like almost every year or signing somebody in free agency. Like, the fact that they didn't pay, unless one of these guys is just going to break out finally this year, whether it's Miles Harden or Miles Bryant, unless one of these guys break out, this is one of the rooms I feel really nervous about going into the season.
Jeff, to answer your question, there are two of them that we signed. We signed Michael Coates Jr. and Nate Evans. Those are the two undrafted guys that were brought in for cornerback. You look at the defensive backs, maybe you try to get the combination of best five guys out there at the time or at a time. So, if that's Tyson Campbell, Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Ronnie Hickman, and McNeil Warren, and disguise your coverage as much as possible, and you don't know who's taking who majority of the time. Maybe that's the route that they go. But, I look at this corner room is pretty scary. I could definitely, like edge, cut down day is going to be very important. Maybe there's somebody that gets cut that they can bring in here and help out. That could be a nickel corner. I can see a trade with a pick swap at some point around cut down day as well to bring somebody else in to help out. But, this room is looking pretty rough. And, you talked about contracts, Denzel Ward trade rumors. There's also been the Grant Delpit contract talk as well. So as we talk about the safeties here,
well, and Ronnie Hickman.
yeah, he's going into the last year of his deal, if I remember correctly. Hickman is.
Yep.
They did bring in Emmanuel McNeil Warren in the draft, Daniel Thomas in free agency. You lose Rayshon Jenkins as your safeties, but um, if they have to figure out this Grant Delpit contract situation on top of all this other secondary issue, where are we sitting at here?
Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating. And like we go from the corner room, which gives me a ton of questions, to the safety room, where this might be the strongest unit on at least the defensive side of the ball. There's so much talent in that room. Daniel Thomas, like a lot of people don't know about him, he was a special teams ace in I think Detroit is where he came from. Detroit or Jacksonville, I can't remember which team, but um, we know what Grant Delpit is. Obviously, this is a big year for him. I think we heard rumors in the offseason like the guaranteed money was like the sticking point on potential contract extension with him. Ronnie Hickman really showed out last year, over 100 tackles. I'm sure he wants to get paid. And then they drafted Emmanuel McNeil Warren, which is probably the steal of the draft on paper because of how far he slipped into the late second round. Um, this is going to be a fascinating room, so much talent. But obviously, the sticking point is who gets extended, who might get moved. Because if a guy's going to get not going to get a contract extension, do they potentially move him, especially at the trade deadline if things aren't going well? So it'll be fascinating to watch.
Um, yeah, that's a great question by Jake. I
Yeah.
at this time, no, I would not do it right now. With what you have now, if you can give me a young corner along with that, sure. But I'm not doing that right now. I would reapproach that come the trade deadline. I'm not sure what your thoughts are, Jack, on that one.
I actually agree with you. I was going to say it has to be a second and a young player. I think we go along the baseline of what we did with Myles Garrett, and that's got draft picks and a young player that could help this team moving forward. I know Detroit's been a team that's been rumored for Denzel since the whole Terrion Arnold situation. But yeah, if a team calls right now, say it's Detroit, and they give a first round pick, I don't even need the player. Just give me the draft pick, and we'll deal with what we have to deal with in this corner room. But if it's at least a second, I would be asking for a young player in return as well.
Yeah, the problem with that is that the draft this upcoming year seems to be a very deep draft, and teams are going to be very stingy with first round picks, especially with the amount of quarterbacks that could come out. So I don't see anybody offering above a third at this point. You might get a third and a player as an offer, and at that point, I still don't know if I would do that or not.
This is a good point by Jeff. I mean, you're right. Denzel Ward has the injury history, especially with the concussions. You do risk that, especially in training camp. You take one, slight bump in a 11 on 11 session. You could be in concussion protocol, and that might dip his trade value again. I mean, and the other thing with Denzel is he's up for a contract extension, and that could be what ultimately the Browns do. They might extend his contract 2 or 3 years. Just say you're a Brown for life. We're not moving you. He wants to be here. He's made it known. So there's a lot of potential shuffling in that secondary just because guys need paid. The Browns are moving towards a younger team, but you have Delpit and Ward, who have been the two of the cornerstones of this defense the last several years. Both need contract extensions. I feel like it's going to come down to who do the Browns value more, and I would have to think it's Denzel Ward in that situation.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting situation to continue to watch with that contract, Delpa's contract, Hickman's contract. A lot of handful of things, but on the bright side, I guess getting Myles Garrett contract off the books over the next few years, you should have some extra flexibility. The Watson contract comes off the books as well, so definitely some salary cap space opening up here soon. Even though that they could make all these extensions work if they really wanted to, that's how good that they've been with the cap. And I have one more safety question for you, and If anybody in the chat that's listening and watching to us, if you have any questions for us about defense only, we'll answer it after this one. Um, with Emmanuel McNeil Ward, we've seen the hype that he has, been bringing to this defense. Could the Browns have the third defensive rookie of the season in a row on their team? Because they have Jared Verse now, they traded for him. Carson Schlesinger this past year. Can McNeil Warren potentially be the next guy on that list to win that award?
It's possible, but he's not even guaranteed a starting job right now. I think it's going to be tough for him. I forget what the odds are for him to win Defensive Rookie of the Year right now, but like it's going to be a long shot, I would presume, just because he's not even a guaranteed starter right now. Now, unless he comes out the gate, has some interceptions, has some big plays, anything's possible. But I would say it's probably a long shot. It would be awesome. I don't know how many teams have had 3 straight Defensive Rookie of the Years on their team, but that would be something pretty exciting to see. But I don't even see his name on the sports books unless somebody else can find it for me. What McNeil Warren's odds are for Defensive Rookie of the Year, but it'd be pretty cool.
It would be very cool. And MC asked a question there about our defense. I'm not sure if you want to put that one up or not.
No, he will not pick apart our defense. MC, I don't know why you're trying to start stuff with me right now, but
I would hope that we're still healthy by that point. So I think we should be okay. We'll see.
If we're not healthy by week 2, Anthony, we got a lot of problems.
I know.
I did find McNeil Warren's. He's between plus 4,000 and plus 5,000 right now. So I will say, I bet on Schlesinger really early in camp last year to win Defensive Rookie of the Year and won a nice chunk of change. I might put a couple bucks down on McNeil Warren just because.
With the bet last year, when he got hurt and he was going to allegedly miss a lot of time, but he ended up not missing time. His odds went to plus 12 or 1,300. So that's what I jumped in on the rookie of the year deal and was able to cash out on that one. Jake asks, just curious on both your feelings of Quincy back with Rutenberg and his praise for him while he played under him, which was the best football he's ever played. Top 5 defense. I'm not going to say top 5 defense for the Browns just because of depth. It is a long season. Yes, you do have an easier schedule because you were in last place last season, but I don't. You look at the teams that they play this year. A lot of good quarterbacks that they're going to face. I'm not going to give us a top 5 defense, but I will say that I am very excited to see what Quincy Williams is able to do next to Carson Schlesinger. That part I am very excited for.
Yeah, I will say I'm excited too. For people that don't know, what he did when Rutenberg was coaching him, 2023, 139 total tackles, 15 for a loss, 2 sacks, 10 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. So and he was a first-team All-Pro. So Quincy Williams, when he's with Mike Rutenberg, can be one of the best linebackers in football. Obviously, last year, falling out in New York, the production obviously took a dip, but there was a rift behind the scenes between him and the coaching staff. So if he can get back to what he was, him and Schlesinger teamed up in that linebacker room, could cause a lot of havoc in the middle of a defense. And I'm kind of with Anthony. I won't say top 5 defense. I could say top 10 defense. And that's with the belief that I think Jared Verse coming here, the new scheme, him being able to be the number 1 guy on the defensive line. I think he can break out, have 10 plus sacks, be one of the leaders of this defense. Obviously, we have studs on all 3 levels. I would say top 10 defense. I think they might take a slight dip from what they've been able to do under Jim Schwartz, Rutenberg being a first-time defensive coordinator. But the talent is there for him for the Browns to still be one of the best defenses in the league.
And Jeff has a follow up to Jake's question here. If the Browns have a top 10 defense, will a team look to snatch up Mike Rutenberg to be their head coach? Certainly a possibility. If you come in here with this defense and are able to perform, you're probably going to get head coaching ranks, especially, he was just pass game coordinator last year, defensive coordinator this year. I don't know if he would make that jump after just one season, but if he's regarded as, and this season goes really well for the Browns defense after their transition from Myles Garrett to Jared Verse and among other players that they brought in, I can see it as well. If he does move on to be head coach, maybe you could get Tarver to be your defensive coordinator if you want to continue to be able to kind of have the same style of defense. So if that is the case, I would still feel pretty good about where the Browns would be at defensively.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. It just obviously you go in and you interview the hell out of it and you do a great job. Anybody can be a head coach. I mean, Freddie Kitchens obviously was a head coach in this league, as we all know. But like, Rutenberg's got the background. Obviously, he's been in a lot of organizations, like I said, under a lot of great football coaches. But maybe he needs more than 1 year as a DC. But like I've said, we've seen guys go up and become coaches relatively quicker than anybody thought. But yeah, that would be interesting if he just has a great defense and he just comes out and gets a job right away. Like I would be stunned, but anything is possible for sure.
All right. I think Jake has our final question here for us. Would Anthony or Jackson be available to replace Rutenberg if we lose him to a head coaching gig? That is a great question. If he does get a head coaching job, they'll have to call my agent and we'll go from there.
And I'm the guy that plays offense only on Madden, so I'm not qualified to be a defensive coordinator. Let's just say that. I can coach the hell out of an offense, so yeah.
If they want to hit me for offensive coordinator, maybe we'll run the wing T offense in the NFL and run for 50 times a game. But
Jake played in that system, so if you need a guy to help you design that offense, he's your guy.
All right, I'll keep that in mind, Jake. All right, with that, we are going to get on out of here. We appreciate everybody that was talking with us in chat. Be sure to like and subscribe this video. We greatly appreciate it. The channel, where are we at subscriber-wise on the channel? I don't have that number.
138 last time I saw.
All right, let's get to 150. Hopefully, I'm not sure if we'll get to 200 by the time the season starts, but I would love to hit that number, get to 200 subscribers over on YouTube. Me and Jackson, like I said, we are heading into our 10th season of this podcast. Whatever iteration you want to have. It started out as a 1085 Gridiron podcast, now the Dawgland podcast. I don't remember if there was another name before.
Nope. Those are the only two.
Oh, no, we had we kind of covered everything, but it was like the Forever Rebuilding one.
That was even
way back in the day.
That was the first part of 1 and 31. That was 2016.
Yeah,
we just wrote. We didn't even podcast yet. We started the 0 and 16 season, and that was how we survived that. I'll never.
Because I think our first episode of that podcast was talking about drafting Myles Garrett, and how that was pretty much a lock.
It was, and then I think we kind of I tried to make the case for Mitch Trubisky, which glad they didn't listen to me.
Yeah, that's a good thing Jack's not a GM in that case. Other cases, he'd make very good picks, but that one, I'm glad that that's okay. I'm the one that wanted Josh Rosen over Baker Mayfield, so I'm not one to talk.
I was gonna say I own my quarterback evaluations over the years. They haven't been great. Brandon Weeden, Mitch Trubisky, but I'll stand on Sam Darnold and Jared Goff because those are my guys in 16 and 18, and they look like they're paying off so far.
I own mine too. The problem is that they just went through the shredder. Those evaluations did a long time ago. So
I'm ready for 2027 though.
Well, with that, we'll definitely have to get Alex in here for the quarterback evaluations, and
He's
we
already
will
at work for that.
all enjoy his evaluations.
There it is.
There it is. All right. We are going to get out of here. Be sure to give Jack a follow over on X at Jack McCurry08. Be sure to give me a follow at Anthony Joki, JOKI. The Dawgland on all platforms, YouTube, which you're watching on now, Facebook, TikTok, at the Dawgland handle. And with all of that, always remember,